Jammies Creative Moments, and I am bringing you today a project recipe for a pack that we got earlier this year, and I'm using a different collection of papers that I kind of had just sort of hanging around. If you remember the Little Dreamer collection, this was from a year or two ago, actually, kind of part of a baby collection that we had. And I have a full pack of embellishments to go with the tone on tone paper pack that I still had a few sheets left of. So I'm going to go ahead and use that, and we're going to do the Lullaby Lane project recipe. The Lullaby Lane papers actually are still in our line, so if you are doing a baby book or need some papers that reflect more of a tiny person, like pastel-y kind of really pretty shades, then you'll want to look at those Lullaby Lane papers. They're very, very pretty. I just don't have any on hand, and I wanted to do this project recipe for you. It is a fun one, and it is kind of different. It does utilize our custom cutting system. You're going to need all three of the round templates, and you're going to need the red blade and the blue blade. You're also going to need a border maker cartridge. I'm going to be using the little one that I always call the onesie cartridge, but it's not actually called onesies. They called it Jammies, and I think it's because it was sold internationally, and something about the folks in other countries don't really know what a onesie is, or maybe they call it by a different name, and so but these look like little onesies that are kind of strung together in like a chain. And so we're going to use that. And if you don't have that one, feel free to grab whatever chain border maker cartridge you like that you feel like goes along with kind of this theme, or whatever papers you plan to use to do this one with. This one does have some rainbows, so you might think, well, I don't have rainbow paper, so I can't really do that. But actually, these rainbows are stacked with using half circles, so it actually is much easier to put this together than you might think. So you don't need any special paper. We are actually not going to be building a Roy G. Biv type rainbow. It's more of just some fun arches that are decorative, and going to show you some of the versatility of the custom cutting system. So let's go ahead and get started with this. You are going to need two base papers. Use two designer sheets of paper for your base, or cardstock if you like, or you can build it right on your page. That's fine too. You're going to need two designer sheets for the decorative items on the page, and then you're going to need a piece of white shimmer cardstock also. And so that's what I'm going to be using today. I have two designer sheets, and I have a white shimmer piece of cardstock, and I also have two designer sheets I'm going to use as the base. Let me show you what those are quickly. So we'll just move a couple of these things out of the way. We're going to be using that here in just a second. And we'll move our adhesive over and our border maker over, and move this just a little bit. These up here so I can use them later. Okay, so these are going to be the base sheets I'm going to use. These have kind of a pattern, a sweaterish type pattern, or maybe you could think of it as maybe wallpaper or something like that. Very neutral, kind of darker on the back, but I'm not going to use the back because I'm going to use this blue paper, which looks a lot like the back, and I just like the blue better. So we're going to use these as our base sheets. So I'm going to set those up there for just a minute while we get a few things cut. And we're going to just flip this over here and grab our trimmer. Okay, so our designer paper, our blue designer paper with the boxes on it, is going to be our designer paper number 1, and we're going to cut that at 2 pieces at 5 inches. So I'm going to just measure 5 inches and cut. So there's piece number 1. We're going to measure another 5 inches and cut for piece number 2, and then this will be just an extra piece that we can set aside. Okay, so we've got those 2, and we are on the road. Okay, so then we want this piece right here. This piece, if you're working with the same collection I am, the Little Dreamer collection, then this is kind of a yellow greenish piece with moons and stars. The back piece is much prettier, I think. It looks like a green curtain with polka dots all over it. So really, really nice, soft colors. And so right now we're going to go ahead and cut. This is directional because back here we do have some lines that indicate folds and things like that. So we are going to go ahead and cut this with those lines being vertical, and then the actually I take that back. We're going to cut it the other way so that when we turn them on their side as mats, they are the lines are going the right direction so that the lines are vertical like a curtain. So we're going to cut the first one at 4 1/4. So we're going to go 4 1/4 on our grid right here. Then we're going to take and turn this piece and measure 5 3/4, which will leave us with 6 1/4. So 5 3/4 is the very first, just barely onto our arm right there. And that will leave us with another piece that is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. All right, so those are 2 of our mats. Then we're going to cut the next piece at 4 1/4 long, and we're going to trim it a little shorter. So 4 1/4 wide. Sorry, I think I said long. 4 1/4 wide. Then we're going to cut this one at 5 1/4, and that is on the main base of your trimmer. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then this one is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, which you will need to trim just a little bit off of the end. So there we go. Set that little bit aside, you don't need it, and that mat can go up there. Now this is the tricky part, if you want to call it that. We're going to need our custom cutting system to cut some circles with the rest of our green paper that we have here. Okay, so you're going to need the large circle pattern, and you're going to need what you're going to do is you're going to take one end of this and you're going to place about half of the paper inside the circle. Okay, you're going to use your red blade, and you're only going to cut half the circle. Okay, so just only put your template over the end of half of the inside circle, and then you're going to use your red blade, and you're going to cut. I would start from the center and work towards each edge, just so that you don't end up tearing it. Get both of those feet in there. There we go. Okay, so then we have our first piece. Whoops. Somehow, how did I do that? I ended up with one piece, like about 1/8 of an inch in the very center. that did not cut. That's kind of crazy. All right, I was trying to use my blade to cut it, but I can't see well enough to do it, so blame it on my eyeballs. Just gonna trim it close enough. Oh, okay, so there's one piece. Now you're going to use your medium circle, which is this one, and you're still going to use your red blade, so just put that flat big one up there. And what we're going to do is we're going to again put half of the circle, put the paper in half of the circle. Does that make sense? You can use the little feet pads that are on the, so that there are these little oval feet pads that are at northwest, or north, south, east, and west on the circle. You can use those to kind of line up and see if you are in the middle of the circle or not. Those work pretty well. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to cut using the red blade, and we're going to go around the center, and we're going to go around the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the center first. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my blade, or move my blade to the outer ring, and we're going to go around the outside. Okay, so now we've got these two pieces. Okay, so 3 pieces so far. All right, you are done with this little bit of green, so set that aside. Now we're going to go ahead and pull out our white shimmer paper. Go ahead and set your custom cutting system aside for a sec. We'll get back to that in just a minute. We're going to go ahead and grab the border maker, and we're going to punch 2 borders of the shimmer paper with that cute jammy punch, or whatever punch you have chosen to use. Just needs to be a chain punch so it'll separate from the page. See how this separates from the page? So it's not attached. This one is so cute. Okay, so there's one. And there are cute little hearts that punch out of this one. Look at that. That's super cute. I wonder if I can save some of those. I don't know if I'll find any use for them, but they might be cute in like a shaker card or something. All right, I'm going to do one more of these. Right, there we go. And that really is all you need your border maker system for. So if you want to separate out your hearts to use later, go ahead and do that. But the rest of this is just confetti. And we will go ahead and toss it. Okay, now set your border maker aside. We are done with that. And we're going to grab our trimmer. We're going to cut a piece of this shimmer paper that's going to be 4 1/4. So we're making a couple more mats just quickly. So 4 1/4, then we're gonna need to open this arm again because we need a 5 3/4 and a 6 1/4, which is what we get the balance of. So those two are mats. We'll stick those on our mat pile up there. All right. Now we can set this aside for just a moment. We are going to need it one more time in just a minute, but we need to cut some circles, some more circles first. So go ahead and grab your large circle and situate it on your paper. You're going to need it evenly spaced right in the middle again. Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, and then you're going to need both your blue and your red blades. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut twice using the same, kind of like we did with this one right here, where we made 2 different cuts while the template was in the same place. We're going to do the same thing with this one, although both of these cuts are going to be on the inside. So we're going to cut with blue first because blue is the farthest away from the channel, and so our paper will stay attached. So on the inside, we're cutting the blue. Okay, and I don't remember if this piece is one that we need, so I'm just going to set it right here just in case. Then we're going to cut the inside with the red. Okay, and then we get this piece. All right, and then we're going to need the small circle, and we're going to line that one up. And this one we're going to cut on the outside of the small circle, and we're going to use the blue and then the red. So again, first we're using the blue on the outside channel. Oop, hold it still, Kim. Okay, there we go. Okay, and now still holding this down so it doesn't shift, we're going to then cut with our red blade. So we end up with basically a 1/4 inch smile. Okay, roughly a 1/4 inch. All right, now one more we need to do. We're going to jump down here. I think we don't need this piece, so you can set that aside. We're going to jump down here and turn our paper just slightly, and we're going to need our medium-sized circle. So grab the medium-sized circle, and we're going to use the blue blade, but let's line up the medium-sized circle so that we have it just the half circle. All right, and then we're going to use on the inside and the outside, we're going to use the blue blade. So when you put this on the base here, make sure you have it centered and you have an even amount of paper on each side of it, because you are going to need that. Okay, so we're going to use our blue blade and we're going to go on the inside and the outside. Actually, because that corner is fussy, I'm going to start in the middle. Don't usually like to start in the middle, even though I did tell you to do that earlier in this video. But sometimes when you have a fussy corner like this, it's just easier. That way your paper doesn't get bent and destroyed. So keep holding your template down again. We're going to go on the inside channel and do the same thing with the blue blade up and around. There we go. And we don't need this little piece. We can set that aside. And we are done with our, oh, I beg your pardon. We are not done with this. So get your trimmer out one more time. We are done with the custom cutting system though, so you can set that aside. and we're going to cut just a couple of strips that are going to be about 4 1/4 inches long and about 1/2 inch wide, and these are for journaling purposes. So I'm going to cut mine, I think, right in here, because that way I can get a better use of my paper, I think. So let's square this up and take those 2 triangles off, and then we're going to cut there's one piece, but it's not I don't think it's quite long enough. I mean, I think it needs to be cut shorter. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that, but that's what I'm trying to say. All right, and so we're going to cut one more that's 1/2 inch wide. And you know that the beginning of this grid on the right hand side here, between that and our cutting line, that's 1/2 inch or close enough. So that's what we're using, or that's what I'm using. So I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to come in here and we're going to cut these at 4 1/4 inches so that they're all the same length. Okay, so there's one, and 4 1/4. There's 2. My paper, my conversation boxes have a little bit of character, but that's okay. I don't mind. All right. Now we are ready to put this together. So let's grab our base sheets, which are up here. And these are our complementary pieces that go across. All right, so we're going to assemble this. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to make a little bit of room so that things are not in the shadows and you can see all the pieces that we have. All right, so there's that. Let me put these blades away very quickly so I don't end up stabbing myself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just spread these out, and then one of these goes on each page, and it's relatively close to the bottom of the page. Let's see, maybe within about 1 inch. And then this cute little jammy punch goes across the bottom like that. And like that. All right, and then we've got our different mats that are going to go on here. So we've got one of the 5 3/4 by 3 1/2. It's going to go down there. I beg your pardon. Hang on just a second here. Yeah, that's right. And then a matching one that's green is going to go up there. The matching one that's green is going to go over there. And we've got a 5 3/4. That's this one that's going to go here, or we could flip that and make it yellow. But I think keeping it consistent and making it green is probably best. Oh, you know what? I'm misinterpreting what we need to be doing. Okay, the white ones need to go up here. The green ones need to go down here, so that all the ones on the bottom are the same color. and the ones on the top are the same color. All right, and our conversation pieces for journaling are going to go over here. Those kind of blend in a bit. I don't know if I like those. We may need to grab a scrap and cut something a little bit different, but let's see what we can put together here. So we're going to put these different pieces on here together. This one, I believe, goes down here, and I'm wrong, so this is why I like to lay it out first, so I can make sure that I'm getting all of the elements where they're supposed to go. So this needs to go higher up here, and we're going to, this one is going to go under here, along with, I think it's this. No. This is a fun puzzle, guys. All right. Let's figure it out, shall we? Okay. So this piece and this piece are R and Q, and R and Q. So Q goes down here, so that was right. And R goes up here. Oops. Bear with me, I dropped a piece. Okay, here we go. Okay. So T, and then I is this piece. So this is T, this is I, so those are in the right place. And then S is this piece right here, and it goes in the middle. Oh, they did reverse. Okay. Like that. I may need to set this down so I can see it better. Okay. So, like so. And then, let's see. R, which is this one. This one goes in the center. Like so. This one is this one goes here in the middle, and then this one goes in the middle of that. There we go. Okay. Now, let's see. H, which is this one, the big one down here, is supposed to be flipped over. And the reason that that's important, and that we make sure we do the rest of these good and in the right way, is because there's actually two of the pieces up here that are supposed to be flipped over, and they are this one right here and this one right here. So it gives us a little bit more variety. And we're going to move all of this up so it's on level with the other side. Okay, I think we have a good handle on this now. And I think we could probably go ahead and put our arches together. However, I do just want to double check something and make sure, because it doesn't say to flip any of this around. Let me see. I'm gonna just move this so I can check on it real quick. So this green part of this one is all one piece, so you can't flip any of it around. That's what I was double checking. Okay, so that's all right. We will just keep that all one piece, and we're just gonna adhere the arches together. Just gonna put a little bit on each end and a tiny bit in the middle. And then when I put it on, when I actually set it down and glue it on here, it's going to just be centered. So we're gonna center this roughly 1/4 of an inch from each side. A generous 1/4 of an inch from each side. Okay, so there's one arch. We're gonna do this one. And this one just gets centered in the remainder of that green field. But then you have equal, you should have pretty equal rings. Equal distance, pretty close anyway. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and add this piece to this piece, centered. Good as you can. All right, very nice. Okay, so that arch is done. Now we're going to do this arch over here real quick. This piece just gets centered in the middle. So does this piece. All right, now let's go ahead and we'll take this bit by bit. So I'm just going to scoot some of my mats a bit, and I'm going to make a little bit of a marker for myself so that I can make sure and get this blue field put approximately where it needs to go. So it's about 2 1/4 inches up from the base is where I had laid that down. Okay, so about roughly 2 1/4 inches from the base. There's that piece. All right, and then we need to put these little jammies on the base, the bottom edge. So we're just going to use a little bit of repositionable adhesive to get this laid on here where it needs to stay. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to bring these back down, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this one because it needs to stay where I put it, because this arch is designed to go right off of it. So I'm just centering that so that it's an equal distance around the 3 planes that I can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and add this half circle. And that's going to go pretty close to the edge, maybe within about 1/4 of an inch or so from this corner of that mat. All right. And then this mat is going to go right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just adhere it to my page this time around. This mat will go above this. All right, and then our 3 little journal strips get put kind of wherever we want up here. I'm just gonna adhere them a little offset from each other. Okay, so we've got those. And now let's do the other side. Okay, so we're gonna move these up here. Set that up there. Grab our permanent adhesive. Okay, I'm gonna match these pages together so that when I put this strip on, it will be even with the strip on the other facing page. There we go. All right, now we're gonna do our jammies. And these are gonna go shoulder to shoulder with the jammies on the other page. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna go ahead and put these down. And I'm leaving my 2 pages sitting together so that I can line these up and keep them at the same level as much as possible. Okay, then we're going to do this one. This is such a cute collection. And I'm loving how easy, I know it was a little bit complicated to find the right arches, but if you follow the guide, it's a little bit easier. Hopefully it's not too tricky for you in a video to follow. There we go. And then we'll put this arch on. And this goes flush with the blue right here and just centered between the edge and this mat right here. Okay, so there's that arch. All right, now let's see what we can do for embellishments on this. They have an embellishment that sits up here. They have an embellishment that sits in the center right here and kind of overlaps this photo a little bit. And those would be fine. And they have actually something up here as well, kind of on the end of the journal box. So let's take a look at what we've got in here that will match this collection and see what we can add to this to liven it up just a little. We've got stars. There's more stars. We've got a really nice moon with foil on it. We've got hearts, little lambs. That one says baby love. That's cute. I really love the embellishments for this collection because they work perfect for creating a small 8x8 album, or you could use them in a 12-month or 12x12 album as well, to create baby pages. They're just really, really cute. Don't think I'll use that one because I don't have any of that color on this page. But you might recognize these. I used them a lot in the baby album that I have a little quick walkthrough of on my channel here. You have my whole heart. That one's cute too. And I love this heart, but I don't have that color anywhere else on here. I'll have to consider whether that's going to be a good option. Love you to the moon and back. That's cute too. Story of you. So again, this is Little Dreamer. It's not the same collection that this project recipe was designed for, but super cute. The greatest joy in my life is the day that you were born. All right, I think we have kind of covered all of the different options here. Just scoop that out there. There's also these cute little beaded embellishments, which if you've watched my channel much, you know that I don't use those very much. I know there are some people who like a lot of bling, but they're just kind of, they sit really high, and I don't know, I just don't usually put those on my pages. I might use them on a card, but not in an album. That's just me. You can do what makes you happy. Isn't that nice? So let's see here. Let's do, I love Hello World, and I'm liking this star a lot. We could put that down here, and that kind of ties in some of the more yellow. And we can use the moon and love you to the moon and back with a star, maybe a green star or two. Maybe we'll stick that up here. Love you to the moon and back. And we'll put a couple stars up there with it. And then what can we put over here? We could put, you have my whole heart, which I think is super cute. You have my whole heart. And we could add just a little bit of a green heart to it. Maybe add a green star too. That might be more than what we need. But we could maybe do something kind of like that. those together. If I had some stickers, I'm sure there were probably some smaller little embellishments that we could add, but I think that's going to be plenty, just like that. And if we pop those up with some foam squares, it'll be perfect. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and we'll just make this star flush with our page, just like that. And we'll pop this part up with some foam squares. This little heart as well. Okay. I don't always take the time to peel all these little doodads off while I've got you here on the video, but I am going to do that just for this one real quick, just so that I can kind of show you how I'm going to overlap it just a little. When you put your foam squares on, if you are overlapping an embellishment onto a photo area, you want to make sure you don't have foam squares where the photo is going to need to go. Really important that you are careful about that, because otherwise your picture, my picture is going to be up a little higher than that. The picture is going to be interfered with otherwise. So I'm not popping everything up with a foam square, you'll notice, just a few things here and there. It's not necessary to pop everything up, I don't think. And it's harder when you're dealing with a triangle as well to pop all of those things up. So you just pick and choose what you want to add some emphasis and some dimension with. And we're gonna kind of move that moon down just a little bit. And this star is going to overlap the moon just a little. You want your embellishments to touch each other so that you can tell that they are connected. Okay, so we've got that one touching or overlapping, and this one is going to do the same thing. Sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I just turn stars around and around and around before I can decide what's meant to be the top, the bottom, the side, you know. Especially if it's not a super symmetrical star. Sometimes it can be difficult to tell which point is supposed to be up. I suppose that allows you your own creativity. You can diversify it as you like. All right, so this one's going to just say, love you to the moon and back. Right across there. All right, here we go. We've got another project recipe in the books. I really hope that you've enjoyed working through this with me, and I hope that you have taken the time to make this, because I really do think that it will complement any little person that you have in your life that you might want to highlight on these pages. It's super cute. And I do love these little jammies and the punch that we used. All right, thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have many more creative moments. You have a great day.